Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Fantasyland Megapark. Now in the previous episode I built this part of the Bone Desert with this giant dragon skull, which also serves as the station for this coaster, and there are several other nice rides as well. And in today's episode I want to finish off the Bone Desert, and we're going to be working on this area over here, where I want to make a big castle called the Sorcerers Academy. And the main ride of this area will be a big roller coaster, which will also have a nice special element. Now, before I start building any of this, let's first go name several more of the handymen in the park after people who commented on the last Fantasyland Megapark video. Alright, here you can see the new additions to the handyman squad. And you will now be forever sweeping, vomit and litter in the park. Now, if you also want to do that, if that also sounds appealing to you, just leave a fun or interesting comment on the park, and you may get picked out in the next episode. Alright, I will now first start working on the new coaster of this area. Alright, the layout of the coaster has now been built. It's just your typical Infinity coaster or Eurofighter layout. That's this vertical lift hill and then a beyond vertical drop. Over here is the first inversion, here's another double inversion, here's a big loop, and finally another dive loop before it returns back to the station. So not the longest of layouts, but it sure is packed with elements. Now, what I want for this coaster is to be a bit more special. So what I want to do is actually make another element here on the lift hill. So if you know the coaster Shoestring at the park, or at Hansa Park in Germany, it actually has a drop down on the lift hill. So first you get pulled partly up the lift hill, then actually you fall backwards for a bit. And only after that you will crest the lift hill again and go over it. That's something which I also want to have on this coaster. Now for that I'm gonna do some shoestringing, so I'm gonna add some extra track underground. It's quite tricky to do, but I already practiced with it and I found a way to actually make this effect work. Yeah, it's a bit technical. I may make a tutorial for this in the future. It is a kind of a similar technique to what I used here to make this coaster reverse on the lift hill before finally it moves over this hill with a higher speed. Anyway, time to make this shoestring work. Alright, I've added some new behavior to this coaster. Here underground you can now see an almost identical track. And basically there's a chain lift on this track on the underground part. But it stops somewhere over here. And that actually makes the vehicle fall backwards. And this part will just drop down, but this part will drop onto this track over here. And well, it will be tough to explain, but I'll just unpause and you'll see what happens. So take a look at both the top track and the bottom track. So this one rolls backwards onto the brakes here. Here the train reverses. And then on this part of the track there's a full chain lift. So over here the train will make it over the lift again. Now what's important when doing a technique like this is that the tracks as the vehicles go forward and backward are exactly the same length. And well, it may be difficult to see, but that's exactly what's going on here. And for the rest of the track, these two layouts are in play identical. And what this also means is that because they're exactly the same length forwards and backwards, these vehicles will always stay synchronized, and this ride should work forever. Yeah, I think it's quite a fun trick, and definitely something to make the coaster a bit more unique. Alright, now that the coaster is functional, of course I will have to decorate it. But I may actually build some new rides in this area first. And then only later, at the end, I will build a nice palace or castle around it. Alright, I've now added 2 more rides to the area. Here you can see a Starflyer ride. Now, I've actually already made quite a few of these in my Roller Coaster Tycoon career. And I've also made one of these Frog Hopper rides. So basically it's also it's a launch freefall and it travels up a bit. And here at the top it goes up and down several times before at some point it goes down again. And then it does the same thing another time. So sometimes the cycle is a little bit different depending on how heavy the vehicle is with the guests in it. But yeah, I think it's a fun ride to watch nonetheless. And yeah, what's now left to do in this area, of course, is to actually make a building around these rides. I think it will be a pretty difficult job, but I hope the end result is nice. Alright, that was a lot of work, but the Sorcerers Academy has been built. Yeah, I tried my best to make this building look interesting. It wasn't always easy to build, especially since I cannot scroll up anymore here, since we're on the edge of the map. But yeah, I tried to make the building look as interesting as possible, even though it is a really large structure with quite a bit of repetitiveness. I did try to build lots of little towers and other little extensions to the building just to make it look a little bit nicer. So I added a few of these doors, which are not functional, but which definitely help to make it stand out. Now, of course, here in the middle is the big Starflyer. Here's another little drop tower, which I built against this against the wall here. And of course, the coaster also weaves through the building here. I should probably fix this while I'm at it. But yeah, the main drop of this coaster also goes through the tower. Now, and of course, the coaster falls backwards during its lift hill. You could just see that if you paid attention. But yeah, I made sure that you're always able to see the lift hill of the coaster, so that you can actually see the rollback that's happening here. Also, there would not be a really much point in adding a feature like this if you're not able to see it. But now it's at least always visible. Also here on the back, I added a few of these yeah, rock walls. A few more of these extensions. And yeah, something which I also found funny is that you can actually see the guests walk through the queue of the coaster here. Now, I took so long to build this this entire structure, but the queue is no longer full. I think if we have some new guests enter the park, the queue would probably fill up again. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this area turned out. I think it looks really cool like this. And yeah, what I'm going to do next, probably without a time lapse, is just add a bit more decoration around here just to finish off this area.
One eternity later.
Alright, I've been hard at work adding lots of little details throughout the area. First of all, I added some details like some of these broken down buildings along the area. I've added several more towers, for example, right next to the bridge here. I thought that was a nice location for some towers. Also added some towers over here, of which one is broken down. I think that's a good way to give some character to these towers without making them all look the same. I also added lots of foliage throughout the area, and then mostly in the form of these dead bushes and trees. Something else which I thought was a cool detail is I opened up some chasms across the area. So I just lowered the ground a bit and put all this black fire coming from it. I think that that's a really cool detail. I didn't try to not do too much of it, so you'll just see it in a few areas. Kind of along a line here. But yeah, if you look through the area, you'll notice a lot more changes. I also added some more details to this building. Some of these, basically, I just tried to give it a bit more extra structure. But yeah, I did it all throughout this area here, and I think that also makes the back of the castle look much more interesting rather than it just being a flat block. I also added a few entertainers in the area. Now, I kept this area light on entertainers, so you'll just see a few knights patrolling the area. Yeah, I think you'll have to imagine that the sorcerers who used to inhabit this area have already been gone. And all the stuff that's moving here is still their lingering magic. Something like that could be a believable story, I think. But yeah, with that, I think this area is pretty much completed. I think the Bone Desert definitely is a really cool area of the park. Alright, I think it will be fun to do a little overview of how the entire park looks like now. But before we do that, I think it's time to name several more of our entertainers in the park after people who support me on Patreon. Right here you can see the names of the patrons who are now featured in my park as an entertainer. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, it means a lot to me. And it definitely keeps me going to make all these episodes. And I hope you guys enjoy your spots in the park. And if you also want to support my channel through Patreon, you can find the link in the video description. The support is really appreciated. Alright, here's a little overview of the park so far. Here's the entrance area with the two big towers here. And at the entrance area we have the marketplace. And also several attractions can be found here. Also the horses going around to transport people from and to the center island. And of course on this starting island we also have this shuttle coaster, the family boomerang, and the farm area as well. Here's the middle island. It has a big castle and a little town around it. It has this wooden coaster, which is also a shuttle coaster, travels on this spike, which also has this triplet of drop towers. There's the jousting arena here, and a big whip ride in a ballroom. And yeah, there's lots of stuff happening over here. Also lots of houses where people live. Over here we have the Crystal Caves area. I tried to make it look like this area is actually underground. Some industry over here. This big hybrid between a bobsleigh and a suspended coaster. And there's several other attractions over here as well in the caves. Yeah, I think this area also turned out pretty nicely. Over here we have the pirate area. It's a big jungle, especially here on the top. Also has this launched coaster, which actually has a little shoestring, so it actually goes backwards here, just like a full throttle, and then launches forwards and goes over the hill. You could also see them sync up quite nicely here, with one going through the loop while the other one was passing over. And then here at the bottom there's this pirate town, also with a big harbor. Also the little guests being chased by the sharks in their rowing boats. Here's the big splash boat ride, and here's the little town. And some ruins here over here as well. And then finally here's the area which created in the last 2 episodes. This is the Bone Desert, so with a giant dragon skeleton which goes throughout this entire area. I added a little tail here using some coaster trains, just as a little extra detail. But yeah, a very dark area. Lots of black fire, dead trees, and the swords. Lots of ruins. And then here's the Sorcerers Academy, also with several rides, including this coaster, which drops riders backwards as they're going up the lift hill. Now, I did notice that the underground vehicle for this ride actually drifts ever so slightly every cycle, so sometimes after several years it can actually get stuck. But then I just have to nudge the vehicles a bit with the right vehicle editor, and then the ride should function properly again for several years. It's a bit annoying, it shouldn't happen, but it does. So yeah, I'll just have to work with that. But still, I think it's a really cool ride. I think it looks great in this area. And I'm super happy with how the castle around this ride turned out in the end. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I think I'll end the video just with a simple cinematic overview of some of these rides and some of the other things you can see in this area. If you like this video, please give it a like to really help out my channel. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this video. And if you want to stay updated on this series, you can always subscribe to my channel. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.